as you can see through the shoe, and literally you are sitting on a full length zoom strobel, which gets you low to the ground. It gets the zoom right underneath your foot. And then what we did was we double stacked the zoom.
Welcome to another episode of the SoleSavy podcast. My name is Marco Henry Negrete. I am the VP of Content and Communications at SoleSavy. At SoleSavy, we unlock the world of sneakers. We're building the sneaker community of tomorrow by making it easier to enjoy sneakers today. And I think every week we have a very special guest, but not all of those guests can say that they've designed a number of Air Jordan sneakers. Today, we are joined by lead footwear designer at Jordan Brand, Tate Kuerbis. Tate, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, man.
Really excited to talk to you. We have some questions from the SoleSavy community, and I want to dive into one that I had personally this weekend. I'm watching the gold medal game, and I was wondering, this isn't your first Olympics. I know the Air Jordan 31 was present at the last one. What does it feel like when you see the shoe you designed performing at the highest level of international play and then helping Jason Tatum win the gold?
Yeah, of course. Probably one of the greatest things is when you put so much hard work into something, you get to finally see it out on the court. And in an Olympics to win the gold medal on Tatum, one of the most amazing things for sure.
Yeah, before we jump into the actual design, common question we kept getting is, how long does it actually take from the first idea popping in your head, the first sketch, to the final product?
Usually it's about 18 months, which seems like a long time. But in footwear design, that's really not that long. And as you know, like every game shoe, you're working on the 34, 35, 36, and they all kind of blend together in one way or the other. They're definitely like overlapping. So when we're launching the 35, we're already kind of deep into the 36. Getting feedback from the athlete on 35 to help us do even better for the 36. So from very beginning to when it hits the stores, it's exactly about 18 months.
Like much of the older Air Jordan models, there's usually a DNA evolution every few pairs that we can kind of see and point them out. Right now, there's no question that heart and soul is, from a product standpoint, is the Eclipse Plate. We saw it introduced on the 34. The 35 and now the 36. Is that here to stay, or can we expect that on the next model?
Yeah, so the Eclipse Plate really was born on the Air Jordan 34. And as you can see, it evolved from the 34 to the 35. On the 35, it came much bigger. It was the center of the shoe, really the icon of the shoe. But for the 36, we wanted to push the Eclipse Plate even further, reduce weight. And that was a big thing, is like, how can we reduce weight but make it perform even better? We actually shrunk the Eclipse Plate, divided it in two, and really made it perform even better. And as we move forward to the 37, 38, you'll probably see an evolution. I can't quite say what it's going to be, but we're definitely like pushing things as much as possible.
Another important piece of feedback that we saw come to play on the 35 was athletes telling you, I want the premium materials back, the materials that make this feel like an Air Jordan. And even when you look at the 34, which I love, one of my favorite Air Jordan basketball shoes, you were still playing to that idea of amplified reduction, but almost stripping away all the materials that made that maybe feel like an Air Jordan. And in the 35, you're able to kind of meet in the middle. On the 36, I'm noticing that again. Is that a piece of feedback that has been continuous over the last few years?
Yeah, I think, for the 35, we did really want to push the materials and elevating the materials, which I think was amazing on the 35. But for the 36, it was all about lightweight. And sometimes you need to push new materials. And that's where the Jacquard Lena Wave came in. And although it's not like the typical luxurious material that you think of, it's almost luxurious in a performance and futuristic point of view. And you'll see we'll add some other materials to complement the Lena weave. But, pushing lightweight, I think, is important for our athletes. And I think so far the feedback has been amazing on that.
Awesome. But I do see some of that premium come through on the heel tab, on the tongue, on the sock line.
Oh, yeah.
Some of that suede in that butt. Let's talk about what everybody wants to know is the Air Jordan 6 inspiration. I know that there's a fine line to walk between honoring the past and then also innovating. What were some of the fun ways you were able to throw some Air Jordan 6 nods into the 36?
Yeah, some of them are definitely a little bit more obvious than others. You'll see like what you're just talking about by luxurious materials. We really wanted the touch points to feel really luxurious. And you can see a little, it's kind of hard to see on the screen, but you can see the inspiration of the 6 of that lace shroud cover popping up. Even I would say the fin in the back harkens back to the original 6. And then there's a few other nods as well. Even on the bottom, you can see a cutout. And some people might recognize that from the actual cutout of the Air Jordan 6 rubber tongue top.
A lot of our the SoleSavy members were really curious. We know all of the Jordan brand family has strong input into the models when it comes to wear testing, when it comes to feedback. Were there any that you worked with particularly closely on the 36 that were provided feedback from an athlete standpoint?
Yeah, luckily we have probably one of the best rosters right now. We have so many great athletes. You look at someone like Zion, which is just a beast on the court, to someone like Luka, who is just super quick on his feet. So getting very diverse feedback, even from Tatum, great input from our athletes on this really made it what it is. When you think about the Air Jordan, we want it to be one of the most coveted, most innovative basketball shoes in the industry. And so we're really fortunate we have an innovation team that we work with that are working 5 to even 10 years ahead of what I'm working on, searching for new innovations that we could bring into the game shoe, because we want it to be the pinnacle, the most innovative shoe out there. The idea of taking back the courts is something we really focus strongly on ever since the 34, even before the 34. But I feel like from the 34 to the 35 to now the 36, we're really in a good space where, performance is great. The athletes are giving us great feedback. Traction has been really good. Everything that you want in a pinnacle performing game shoe, I think we've kind of been able to put into it.
Every year you're tasked, you and your team are tasked with creating the best shoe in the world when it comes to basketball. Sometimes you're able to achieve that, and then other times you have to learn from those. But what is that pressure like, knowing that every day you go into work, MJ and the brand is just asking you, hey, Tate, can you build the best shoe that's ever been made to play basketball in? What's that pressure like for you?
From the 34 to the 35, we're able to take those learnings, and I work with an amazing team. I work with amazing color designer, amazing material designer, a great engineer, so many people that help. It's not just me, it's everyone pitching in to really help push this shoe to the finish line every year.
The man himself, Michael Jordan, still is very close to the footwear project, especially the game shoe. What is that relationship like working with him, and how does his input affect the final product?
This is always his shoe. He's not playing anymore. He's retired a long time ago, but he is super competitive. On the court and off the court, of course. And he does want this to be the best shoe. And he's got amazing feedback still. He can look at it, and the first conversation is about performance for MJ. How is this going to make our players better? How is it going to make them perform better on the court? And then of course he wants it to be the best looking as well. Something you've never seen before. The perfect blend of art and science, performance and luxury. All of that are components of the equation to make the game shoe what it is.
The idea of light and lightness is in the sole of this shoe, from its actual transparent upper to the idea of a new light for Jordan brand, a new fresh roster of young talent. Tell us a little bit more about the ethos of light and the kind of the double meaning that 36 plays with it.
I remember when we were almost to the end where the shoe was almost finished, and we went to go see MJ, and he hadn't seen the shoe in a bit. He knew what it was about and how we were creating it, and the basic design of it. But when I took the final sample and I actually kind of like just threw it to him and he caught it, his eyes just kind of lit up, because the first thing he felt was this shoe is so lightweight and you made it look so good. And he was just looking at the material, how it's see-through, the light's going through it. The material looked good. It was modern. It was innovative. But the idea of lightweight, I think it really it captures you immediately, because you know that it's going to perform well if it's lightweight on your feet.
Over the years really has been the unfair comparison to the OG Air Jordan models. I do feel like in recent years, because the brand has stayed so steadfast on trying to create the best performance shoe, that pressure has alleviated in a sense that people are no longer trying to compare this. because the brand stance has always been, these are for playing basketball, and we're not trying to jump on style trends and build the best basketball shoe of all time. We're really trying to build that and then hope that the influence from those athletes in that play carries over off the court. But talk a little bit about that and just staying committed to the best basketball shoe and not letting any of the fashion trends, let's say, or material trends get in the way of that mission.
That's a challenge for sure. You could get really caught up in that idea of sneaker culture, what's going to be hot, a year from now. And I think you could get kind of lost and really lose sight of what the team is trying to achieve. And I think when you focus on performance first, if you went from a performance lens, and then you also throw in, all the design and all the things that make the Air Jordan look as good as it looks, then you can win off the court as well. But you're never going to win off the court if you can't win on the court first.
Feels like decades there was a separation between what was considered a big guy shoe and what was considered a guard shoe. I feel like in recent years, we've seen the Air Jordan game shoe model really kind of play in the middle of that. Is that something you guys go into that, considering how diverse the roster is this needs to be durable enough for a big man, but quick enough for a guard?
I would say this is probably like one of the biggest design challenges, is to design a product that can do, I wouldn't say everything, but it's certainly, it works for someone like Zion, it works for someone like Luka. And I think, to achieve that, you really have to focus on a lot of things. You got to focus on traction, you got to focus on lockdown. And, this year, with the Jacquard, we were able to achieve lightweight, but we were also able to achieve strength in a way that we've never been able to before. And, you'd be surprised. You look at the shoe and you can literally see through it. And you're probably like, how is that going to be strong enough? But this material literally is designed to lock down your foot, still be breathable and still be lightweight.
I know that a member of the team, Jacqueline, she studied weaving at university and then ended up at Nike and helping the team innovate this shoe. Is that something that the team seeks out and says, hey, we need an expert weaver? Or was that kind of a happy accident? She shows up at Nike and you said, hey, we've been looking for someone just like you. Let's go work on the 36.
We were super fortunate because she's super talented and very passionate about weaving. And, I don't have a lot of knowledge or information about weaving, but we found this material and she instantly was like, I know so much about this material. We can actually, and it had never been used on a shoe before. If you look at like those fancy office chairs that are like $800, that's the same material that's contouring your body, holding your body in. And we were like, let's push it. Let's take this innovative material and see if we could adapt it to the Air Jordan. And, it wasn't something that happened overnight. It took almost 2 years to get from the very first sample that we could hold in our hands to being on a shoe that we could test with our athletes, to perfecting it in every way possible.
Hearing some details about the shoe, it sounds like there's more than just comfort and durability capabilities when it comes to that. There might be an opportunity for some graphics to be at play when it comes to that weave on the upper.
Yeah, you know what we do with PEs, and other colorways that will be coming in future seasons. It's really the blank canvas for us to create really interesting colorways, graphics. I think you guys will be super excited to see what we do with it.
This is a selfish question, but I have to ask, how soon are we going to see the Air Jordan 36 low? Because I love the game shoe, but the low for me is, and I know it's popular amongst athletes too. Can we expect that this year, or is that going to be spring?
Yeah, we've got that coming. Of course, the low is one of those things that you see a lot of players in the NBA wearing these days. So you'll see a spin on the low coming later. Yeah, I guess that would be next. Yeah, it's coming though.
Good. As a follow-up to that, when you're designing a low, sometimes to the common eye, you might just think, hey, you chop off the top and you're good to go. Is it almost like having to design two separate shoes with the same base, or is it sometimes just as simple as trimming a little bit off the top?
I think we want to keep the excitement going as much as possible. So just giving it a haircut, I feel like is a little too easy. So we'll definitely like switch it up a little bit just to, make it feel fresh enough that you want to have the mid, you want to have the low, you want to have all the colors. You just got to get it all.
Great, great. And then to finish this off, I want to see if you can hold that shoe up again and just go over some of the hero tech aspects, starting with the outsole. It sounds like there's a ton of zoom and a ton of bounce in here. Can you talk about the improved double stack zoom?
As you can see through the shoe, and literally you are sitting on a full length zoom strobel, which gets you low to the ground. It gets the zoom right underneath your foot. And then what we did was we double stacked the zoom. So you'll actually have another zoom bag pod under your forefoot to give you the double stack sensation and really give you the bounce that you need, which is pretty crazy to think the amount of zoom we were able to fit in the shoe and get you lower to the ground and keep it as lightweight as possible.
What about some of the Easter eggs that you often sneak into shoe designs? I know that there's a nod to MJ's chains and rings on the back of this heel. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that was a fun element that we added. Those things are like the icing on top of the cake, like just putting those fun hidden features. There's a code that runs along the ribbon that's on the upper. Yeah, you mentioned his chain inspiration on the back that references his 6 championships. I think this is super cool. I love the 36 font that we created. We kind of moved away from the Roman numerals on this one, and I think it ties really well with the ribbon that you see going around the tooling. Yeah, lots of little things in here that there's even a little code on the rubber bumper, but those are all things I'll let you guys figure out on your own.
Awesome. And lastly, since you have the lead colorway in your hand, can you share a little bit more about the inspiration for this? I know sometimes the brand goes with the classic black, red, and white, and then often there's a new story for this particular shoe. How does this colorway that you're holding now reflect the Air Jordan 36 design ethos?
Yeah, I think you actually touched upon some of it when you talk about lightweight, energy. It's really kind of just bringing that energetic color, vibrant color into the storytelling, which really pushes like a future look, a future color, really pops off the court. I think it's pretty fresh.
Well, Tate, I appreciate your time today. I know that you must be busy on the 37 already. So thanks for taking the time, and I can't wait to get these on feet, and we'll talk soon then. Thank you.
Thanks, Marco.